Hey, everybody. Welcome into episode 2 of the Level Playing Field podcast. Today, we have a great episode for you talking about gambling in sports and how that affects not only the consumers of sports, but the actual players and the whole entirety of sport as itself. Amateurs, professionals, youth, the whole thing. So we're going to take a deep dive into history, present day, and how that affects the people that love sporting events of all kinds. So, as always, Andrew Cardos here with my co-host Dennis Attia. Dennis, how are you today?
Hey, Andrew, man, every day is a miracle, buddy. Listen, I would tell you, sports gambling, it's like the church had something to do with it, the government has something to do with it, and the gangsters. What a crazy combination that the Catholic Church, the popes, just come up with this legitimate, gambling for the church's position back. It had to be in the '60s. They came out with a position that gambling for legitimate purposes was okay. So, a lot of Christians struggle with the whole gambling issue, Well, what happened from that, it's just gone absurd. The popes were talking about bingo and, the games of chance at the church where, you go to the carnivals or the church picnics and, they got a little bit of things going on and the church makes some money off it. That's what the church's position was on gambling. I'm going to talk with my local bishop, who I know, in the diocese that I'm in, and tell him that the church needs to reevaluate their position on gambling, because I would tell you it's gone haywire, Andrew. I mean, really, really haywire. And from there, you had organized crime taking sports bets in different parts of the country. It was a big underground operation. The only place that you could bet, it basically was Las Vegas they had like some little shops that were, obscure and weren't really legitimate, and they went back and forth. But the casinos embraced sports betting in 1975. Nevada got together with the owners of the casinos, and the first sports book opened up in 1975 in Nevada. And there was a law passed, basically, that our government got involved, and they said the only place to bet on sports was Nevada legally. So from there, you had organized crime and some bookmakers throughout the country that would take bets. So let's say you were in New York, and the New York Giants were playing the Rams, the Los Angeles Rams, right? So the book would take a bunch of bets in New York because everybody's cheering for New York. So the illegal bookmakers in New York would take all this action. And then same thing in Los Angeles. So now what they could do in Nevada, they could have a runner in Nevada, because the way you make money is balancing your book. And when you lose a wager, you get charged 10%. So if you bet $1,000 on the LA Rams and they were playing the New York Giants and you lost your bet, let's say the Giants won, they didn't cover, right? So now what you did was you had to pay your illegal bookmaker 10%, right? So you pay in $1,100. That's how it works. Everyone that bets, it's sick how many people that bets. So I'm probably preaching to the choir. They probably know more than me in general. And it's so sad that they say 66% in 2020, there was a survey by the University of Maryland. They say 66% of Americans approve sports betting. It's a sin, really. Honestly, it needs to really be relooked at. And that's how gambling works in general. So that was how they opened up these casinos in Nevada. So the guys in Los Angeles would call, have a runner, hey, go down to XYZ Sportsbook, bet our over. So let's say they have 100,000 in excess bet on the Rams. They don't want to. I mean, they're just small bookmakers. They don't want to get stuck if the Rams cover with a $100,000 headache. You understand? Same thing in New York. So the New York guys have a runner. Hey, run down to XYZ casino, and we have $100,000 over in New York. We have 100,000 people betting on the New York Giants, and we have 100,000 people betting, or $100,000 worth of bets on the LA Rams. So hey, let's go down. Let's level it out so we don't take a big risk. And that's where the Nevada sports book started to boom. They were taking the action. Their casinos, they didn't mind that action. And from there, it just proliferated. Now, these little bets that you these parlays and this and that and what and when, they would hold that because they call them sucker bets. You got to be a dummy to bet on a parlay, they call them, or a teaser, or all these other various propositions that they have out right now. They call them sucker bets. They would hold all of them because they were suckers. Very few would win. Do you understand? So what's happened today? Well, that's why when you see these garbage commercials all over the professional sports and the NCAA games, they say, give us $5 and we're going to give you $250. Some kind of garbage like that. Well, they're trying to sucker all the kids and all the families going, just if I put up $5, I'm going to get $250. Well, listen, there's a big sucker on that. That's the devil. They want to suck that $5 and get you in for the first time and get you addicted to the garbage, because that's what it is. It's garbage, Andrew. And the problem that I have with gambling, look, the papacy said for legitimate purposes. Now the governments have jumped in. The old bookmakers too. They used to have they used to do the numbers, right? So you can go to them and you can bet the numbers with them. So here's what's happened now. The government steps in and says, no, we want a piece of the action. So now they impose taxes on it. Now they got the lotteries that people are spending. I have a friend of mine from childhood, a childhood friend of mine. I mean, he was struggling, and I tried to help him every way I could. So finally, I got to the bottom of it. I'm like, Mark, what in God's name is going on? He says, every one of my paychecks goes to the lottery, Andrew, the lottery. So the combination of the states and the government and the gangsters, right, have taken advantage of one of our great popes who sort of said, well, if for legitimate purposes, it's okay. Look, the root of all evil is the love of money. The love of money is the root of all evil. That's a scripture, right? Gambling, these casinos love money. The government, they love money, right? These lotteries, yeah, that's great. They say, it's going towards senior, but how much really goes towards senior citizens? You know what I'm saying to you? That money gets diverted and gets funneled into all kinds of different spectrums. You understand? We have senior citizens that can't pay their taxes, right? They can't get their medicine. They can't. So what are they doing with their money? You know what I'm saying to you? So for
state-run senior citizen houses don't exactly look like Trump Tower.
Well, look, you're right on there. So it's a lie. Everything about gambling is a lie. And that's where I want to caution all of the men and women that are sitting there watching these NFL games and all of the pro games. And I don't watch them, but I just have been watching a little bit of them recently. And man, you just get bombarded. Gamble. Do you understand? Drug. You know what I'm saying?
That's what it is.
Alcohol. You know, so from my perspective, how it needs to be addressed by our government, right, is it needs to be treated like cigarettes. It's a disease. People start gambling, the numbers are crippling, and all the issues that the addiction to gambling is crippling right now. And all of the problems that are lingering in front of our children today. And I care about the children. That's why we're doing this show. You understand? We got these, colleges that the kids are thinking about going to. They're competing in athletics. Oh, I might go to Penn State, or I might go to Pitt, or I might go to Notre Dame, and so they're watching these games, and bow, there are these ads, right? Drink my alcohol, right? Buy my drug, and gamble, worse, online. Gamble at my online gambling casino, where all they show are these former. And I can't believe Belichick. I wanted to slap him when I was watching it like a year ago, and Belichick actually done a gambling ad. I mean, how much money do you need, you slob? Do you understand? I've lost every ounce of respect for that guy. He coached with a friend of mine, Kirk Ferentz, down at the Ravens or the Browns, and then he got fired by the Browns. But I had a lot of respect for that guy. I lost every ounce of respect. How much money do these pro athletes have to make, right? How much money do these NFL franchises have to make? Do you understand? And these professional basketball and baseball and hockey, it's all of them. It's every single one of them. How much money do they have to make to substantiate addicting children, addicting young kids, and family men and women? They want to sit and watch. Watching sports is an all-American pastime, Andrew. Right? So how much and how far are they going to go that it's going to stop? Advertising gambling is advertising drugs, right? And advertising alcohol while men and women are sitting with their children, or they're watching their favorite college team, or they're dreaming of going to that university, maybe to play football, maybe to play basketball, or whatever they're going there for. Field hockey, lacrosse, wrestling. You just go down the gamut. So they're watching their favorite school because they applied there, and wham, they're getting punched in the face. Here's bet $5 and we're going to give you $250. What kind of sucker? What kind of suckers are they taking our children for? Are they taking these young athletes for? And listen, it's an epidemic. It's an epidemic, and it needs to stop.
Yeah. Well, that's it right there. Because just like you said, I remember when it's been at least 5 years now for the legal gambling and everything, and
2018, the government.
There you go. So before that, all those commercials were fantasy sports. Join ESPN Fantasy. Join Yahoo Fantasy. That's all fun. Love fantasy sports. It's a lot of fun you can have with your buddies. But now everything shifted. DraftKings, FanDuels, all of it. They get you in there, and like you said, with the $5 bets. The bet $5 to get $200. I looked into it the one time. It's hilarious. It's like if you actually read the fine print on that, you never get that $200. There's no way for you to pull that out. It's a credit because they want you to keep betting. Because what do we know about gambling? The house always wins. They're going to get that $200 back 100%. It is just money in the bank for them because they know that you're never going to stop. Because when you put that $5 bet down, heck, you might win your 3-game parlay. That is the absolute best thing for them, is if they get someone coming in on a $5 bet that wins a parlay, and they get that itch. They get that itch, and then I can do this all day.
It's like what the cigarette industry did to our military men and women when they were handing out cigarettes with nicotine.
Yep.
You ever see it? It totally needs to be banned. It totally needs to be stopped. Look. Gambling has snuck up on America today, and for our television networks and our amateur and professional, I shouldn't call them amateur. The NCAA was used to be amateur, with NIL and all the other garbage that's going on. But they're watching the college. They're watching the professional sports, and they're getting bombarded with gamble, drink, and my drug from Pfizer or from whoever is going to heal you and make you feel better. That's what they're all getting bombarded with. So from my perspective, it's what you just said. They're trapping them. They're addicting them. It's got to stop. Especially advertising. Give me $5 and we're going to give you $200.
It's the advertising dollars. That's where somebody somewhere down the line, probably at the head of the line, has to stop and say, we're not doing this anymore. And I don't know if that's I'm not a big person for regulation, but like in these positions, these type of industries have to be regulated. It is the exact same thing, like you said, like cigarettes, alcohol, gambling, they're vices. And when you have a vice industry that is unchecked, it's not going to stop. No one's going to stop. So something has to make it stop. And if that's some type of regulation saying you can't advertise on TV, like cigarettes can't advertise on TV, right? So it has to fall under that same line because it is that same hit of dopamine. It's worse. It's way worse because now you can sit on your couch and never run out of cigarettes. You can sit on your couch on FanDuel and DraftKings all day long, hit that button on your personal sports book, and you don't got to think about anything. And you can afford it.
Here's the thing. What took it to this level where the 30 states got approved is and everybody worships this Supreme Court. In 2018, it was the Supreme Court that ruled that it was no longer just Las Vegas, that they overruled the ban. This ban that occurred, it was called the Amateur Protection Act in 1992, in which it banned gambling. It banned gambling and everywhere in the country except Las Vegas, which I didn't really have a problem with. I really have a problem with because, you know, it kept it where it wasn't in the people's face. It wasn't in the people's living rooms. It wasn't, you know, at every little corner casino. And
let's also remember 2018. These things weren't what they are today. That's almost 10 years ago. The advent of the cell phone has taken every industry, every vice, and just exacerbated it to a level that no one could even comprehend. And what we have coming down the line with AI and everything else, it's just going to take it to a whole nother level that we're not even aware of. But that's it. You can't, these rules they're already antiquated because, you know, like you said, 2018, they passed this law that lets it, you know, seep out of Las Vegas.
The Supreme Court, the United States Supreme Court, you would think they want to protect. They would want to protect the citizens, and that's Trump's group right there in 2018. That's the current president. So you would think that it would be their goal, right? It would be their goal to protect the welfare of our sons and daughters, okay? To protect the welfare of the men and women that are working hard. Look, this is a vice that puts people under. It ruins relationships. It ruins marriages. It causes financial hardship, bankruptcy, you name it. That's the only good that comes from it. And getting back to these ads that you watch, they got a former professional athlete doing these commercials, which is pathetic, right? And then they got these pretty women or some kind of, you know, it's always got to be razzle dazzle. They don't show the bloke, bust out guy that got thrown out of his house that couldn't pay his rent. They don't show those people.
At the end of every ad, in double time, they say, call 1-800-GAMBLER so that if you have a problem, blah, 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 blah. They do that really quick at the end. They put the little subtitle at the bottom so that they get their little check mark so they can legally do it. But that's what it is. They skim it by the skin of their teeth, and that's it. That's their like morality check. They we told them.
But did you ever call the 1-800-GAMBLER?
Yeah.
No. Right? No one ever does. But if you call it, what are they gonna do for you? They're not gonna give you back the $100 you just lost that you were gonna buy milk and food for your family. Do you understand? They'll give you back the $700 or $800 that you just blew to pay your mortgage or pay your rent. You know what I'm saying here? They don't give you back. So once they suck in, and here's the thing, getting back to your phone, right? When you go to Nevada, right? When you go to, I went
Mhm.
there, and I'm a referee. I was one of those suckers that flew out there, or I had a runner out
Mhm.
there. That's real. You got to pay them real $100 bills.
Mhm.
You understand? You got to count them out, and if you're betting here, you're going to bet a Gino 1,000. Oh, you're
Mhm.
counting it. You feel it. Oh boy, that's $1,000. When you're betting on the phone or you're betting on the internet, do you understand? Or you're betting with these garbage systems that they have all these different
Yep.
monetary forms, right? Your credit card. You don't see the money.
No.
You don't see it. So internet gambling should be banned. Period. Exclamation point. Do you
Yep.
understand? The hardships and the nightmare stories that you hear from all different types of people. It's just when you don't see that dollar bill, the $100
Mhm.
bills, right? You don't really feel it. But guess what? When it gets sucked out of your bank account, or it gets sucked out of your savings
Mhm.
account, or you lose everything you've been working for because some idiot gave you a free $5. Some idiot, some criminal. They're really
Mhm.
criminals, in my
Mhm.
opinion. Gave you $5 and hooked you. So now a month later you're scratching your head and all your accounts are empty. You can't pay your tuition. You can't pay your rent. You can't pay anything. I mean, it's even driven kids to kill
Oh yeah.
themselves, to suicide. We got this crazy suicide rate going on in America. Part of it has to do with these kids are over
Mhm.
gambling. They're getting themselves in really shitty, really bad situations, and it's creating tremendous hardships that gotta stop. It's gotta stop. And one of the ways to stop it is banning it on the internet and banning the television
Mhm.
ads. Okay? If somebody wants to go in person and they're an adult and they want to dish out their money, a couple hundred, whatever it is, and they see that couple $100, and they give it and go, ooh, that's a lot of money. You know what I'm
Mhm.
saying to you? And that's one of the problems with the illegal bookmakers. They take it all
Mhm.
on credit over the phone. Do you understand? And that's one of the things I was always against too. These bookmakers all over the country, they got reputations with people, and they call, and you call them, and oh yeah, and they do their thing, and then it's credit. So the guy's not. I like it when you got to go in person and you got to put that money down, and the guy sees that money and he understands he's an adult. He understands that he's betting $1,000.
Well,
That's my
that's the whole
mortgage. That's my car.
you're,
That's my kid's tuition.
you're
Do you
adding
understand?
accountability to it. That's the whole that's the whole thing that these people want to stay away from. There's no accountability. If there's no physical transaction, there's no actual person to person contact, there's no accountability because it's just numbers on a page and they float away. Now, and I agree with you. If you want to go, it's like the cat's out of the bag, so it's never going back in. The toothpaste's out of the tube. So if you want to go to a casino and you want to make a bet, God bless, right? You're an adult. You make that bet. You want to put your own money, just like you said, put the hundreds on the table, put them on the card, whatever, go out and swipe it. You're there. Sitting on the couch, that's a tough sell because now it's not just you're not just betting on at 2 o'clock, it's on a Sunday afternoon watching an NFL game. Now it's 2 a.m. You're watching Ukrainian soccer and versus like some minor league team you've never heard of before, and that's it. That's it. Well, I got the dogs barking over here, but that's it.
Listen, what the dog's barking for
They
good
they
purpose.
know
He's
they're
saying,
getting
"You're
worked up. They're getting worked
right."
up at this conversation. Um,
The dog saying, "Right on, man. You're so right."
but
My master knows what he's
yeah,
talking about.
but so let's take it back to like the pressures on the kids because that's really what we're talking about. Not only, I think we kind of touched on this last week lightly, but how you're adding. Remember, professional sports is one thing. And what we kind of said is collegiate sports is professional sports at this point. But the fact of the matter is, these kids are 18 years old. 18 to 22 year olds.
No
You
doubt.
are extremely impressionable at 18 years old. And
No
when
doubt.
you're put under that line of fire, I think you said this last week, or maybe we were talking about this on the phone, but um, how you don't like how when they do a penalty, the referee says the number in college. Professionals, that's a whole other side of this coin, right? But when you're in college, don't say the number because that adds more pressure onto the kid. They're 18 years old. They're walking around campus. They got to go to class, right? And the last thing they need is like people chirping them on their walk to economics 202. And they're like, oh my gosh, I got this exam now. And now I'm like, people are chirping me as I'm walking to class.
The kids in the class are busting
because
their
the kids in
chops,
class have the cell phone that they're betting on the game. So now the kid in class is like, hey man, I can't pay tuition next year because you missed that catch. You realize that? And like, that's real. And if you want to like say it's not, like you're kidding yourself. But that's the real factor, is that the actual pressure on these kids is astronomical. We said this last week. You're playing on national TV. Now you're adding in the pressures of gambling. You're not letting these kids grow and develop in a culture that is conducive to success. It's just pressure, pressure, pressure. And it was the first game of the year this year. Ohio State, Texas, hyped up beyond all belief, right? Arch Manning making his big debut. This kid has been crowned since he was in high school. He goes out, didn't play well, but like, let's be honest, he's playing against the number one team in the nation. So like, could you really expect it? But he throws an interception or makes a bad play, flip to commercial. He's on the Warby Parker ad. He's doing all these commercials. When your face starts popping up on all the commercials, people don't care. People don't want to be nice to you because they're like, you know what? He got paid for that. He got paid for this. He's making more money than I make in a lifetime just off that one ad. So how can I be angry? How can I be upset with that? Yeah. All right, guys.
But what I would add to that, there's been many incidents of, and it's a great point, about the numbers. I think they shouldn't give the numbers in the NFL or in professional sports because guys are getting attacked. I mean, there's been many confrontations, many attacks on that social media bullshit. It's absurd, the things that people say and don't say. They forget that these guys are humans. Senator Bradley, a Democratic senator, made a great statement when the U.S. Supreme Court undone the Las Vegas only and opened it up to over 30 states. He made a statement on the record that athletes are not casino chips. Do you understand? That athletes are not casino chips. And boy, and that was a statement he made in 2018, and that's what's occurring now. So these powers that be need to stop the advertising. Point blank, it's all got to stop. And the main reason they do it, Andrew, the main reason they're permitting it, because if you got money on a game, guess what you're doing? You're watching it.
Oh yeah, that's eyeballs.
And here's the thing. If you got the over-under on a game, or your team's favored by 3 touchdowns, or you're going to watch the game even as a blowout, because you're watching to see if the total score of 66, the Devils number, 66 points, and whether it's going to go over 66 or under 66. So remember how you watch a blowout game, everybody stopped watching.
I haven't looked these numbers up, but I guarantee the viewership for a Tulsa, Sam Houston State on a Wednesday night after 2018, I bet those numbers went up. Because who cares? Who cares? I guarantee in the Northeast, Houston versus Sam Houston State, there you go. That's it.
Well, not just that. The old blowouts in the NFL games, if the Eagles are blowing out the Giants, that used to be that huge rivalry. Maybe people would have stuck around and watched it, but everybody would just turn it off. If the Giants were killing them, everybody from Philadelphia would turn the TV off because they couldn't take the pain. But if they got the over-under in that game, they're going to keep watching it. Or what else they're doing now is they're offering these second half propositions of who's going to score a touchdown, who's going to score first, who's going to kick a field goal, whether or not, XYZ. So those propositions, those sucker bets,
And
they
that's
call
the
them.
other that's the
Sucker
other
bets.
thing, just like you said.
That's what's keeping the people watching the games. And that's what's keeping the NFL ratings up. And that's all they care about. They don't care about our kids.
Eyeballs.
Those owners could give a about our children. They could give a about the people watching. I had a friend of mine, Bobby Bonaparte, great guy, Division I football player, greatest father you ever met in your life. Awesome cat, awesome husband. Man, he had season tickets to the New England Patriots. He never missed a game. He was cheering for the Patriots when they were bums. You know what I'm saying? I mean, they used to be total bums. They're bums again. But when they were total bums, he bought one of my sons a New England Patriots jacket when they stunk, and as like a gift. Like that was like, hey, Dad, give this to your son. So my son used to wear it, and that's when they just started winning. Everybody thought my son was a genius. He's walking around in the New England Patriots. It was right when Brady came in. But anyway, he died. Beautiful guy. He died a young death. Cancer got him. The devil got him. And did the Patriots send him one card? Did anybody from the Patriots say, "Oh, we're sorry for your loss"? Did the Patriots call up his wife, his kids, and even send a card? No. You understand? Those NFL teams could give a about us. They could give a about our kids. Do you understand? All they care about are the ratings and people watching, because that's how they negotiate their billion dollar television contracts and electronic media contracts based on how many people are watching and participating. And for that reason, they want gambling. They want gambling to be televised. They want everybody gambling, because what it does, it keeps the fans watching the games even when there's a blowout. Because and they're betting the over-under, they're betting these different propositions. So they want that garbage in our houses, and they want that garbage on our cell phones, because they want a bunch of suckers watching their games, pushing up their ratings. Do you understand? So they can get those billion-dollar contracts.
It's all intertwined. One thing leads to the next, then it just keeps filtering through, and that's it.
So what we got to call on, I mean, Senator Browning spoke out about it. He's no longer in the Senate, but we need some senators to step it up. We need the President of the United States to go back to the U.S. Supreme Court and say, what did you guys do in 2018? That got to get put back. They can't have internet gambling. It's got to be in-person gambling. Do you understand? And it's got to be restricted. It's got to be restricted to a physical place where someone's got to go and bet in person. Bet their dollars in person and lay them down. No credit. Do you understand? No over the internet. No over the phone. In person. And I will tell you, that's the only way to do it, because it's poisoning our children. It's poisoning our kids. It's being a conflict on our athletes. Our athletes are being harassed and are being exposed. I mean, look, there's been a bunch of NFL players suspended in the last couple of years. Isaiah Rodgers, Rashad Berry, and Demetrius Taylor, they were suspended like a year ago. There's been like confrontations with players attacking various fans, bettors, gamblers attacking players. And there was a situation that's in Major League Baseball this year. There's been guys gambling on games and being suspended, and the NBA the same. Now there was a Beal that was attacked. Some player by the name of Beal got attacked, and he had a confrontation, and he spoke out against the fact that these fans are individualizing them out. They're not chips. They're not gambling chips, and they need to be protected, and they need to be nurtured, and it needs to stop, because I will tell you this, Andrew. I will tell you this. All the epidemics, like we had talked about, all the pandemics, this drug problem that we have in America, and all these kids killing themselves at a young age. Man, look, God is so good. Life is so good. You know what I'm saying to you? And anything that our government can do, from the president down to Congress, down to the governors, to the NCAA. You know, you said it last. You said it in our last program that the NCAA has fallen apart 25 years ago. That they basically don't even exist anymore, and it's pathetic. You know what is going on at our universities today and in our environments and with the kids, Andrew, with the college kids getting this. You and I we always talk about. What do you do with $1 million when you're on campus? I guarantee you, they're all betting. They're all they might not be gambling on themselves, but they're probably gambling on the NFL games, gambling on other teams, and some of them might be even gambling on their own team, on themselves. Do you know what I'm saying to you? And it just adds such a controversy the way the system has progressed since 2018 that you can gamble now in over 30 states on sports. So and you can gamble online.
And I remember the I don't know if they do them anymore. The 30 for 30 series from ESPN. I remember they did one it was called Broke, and it's about all the NFL players who, like through the 80s and 90s, early 2000s, who just have made millions, signing bonuses, all this stuff, and they got nothing left because they spent it all because they didn't have any financial information on how to spend, how to save, how to plan for their financial futures. They were kids. They were 22, 23 years old, younger sometimes, and you're just given the keys to the kingdom and you don't know what to do except buy very expensive things because you've never had anything before. And that's the thing, is that in the NFL has kind of like fixed itself to the point. Like everyone's there's so many financial advisors now. There's so many people that, like, when these guys get that money, because it's so ridiculous now, there's people there to take 10% of it and tell you how to spend the 90. But that in college has yet to happen. And I think in the next 5 to 10 years, we're going to see stories of these kids, 18 years old, you get paid whatever, $1.2 million to be a quarterback for a middling team. And what happened to that guy? Who's that guy? Where did he go? Where did that $1 million go? How did that help him? Because you always say, like, oh man, if I had $1 million, all my problems would go away. That's so not true. If you had $1 million, you'd have 25 more new problems, because there's always someone trying to take it. There's always someone's pulling on you. Something needs to happen. So that's going to be the very interesting next thing, is to see the effects that happen from all these new rules and all these changes into college athletics through NIL, through gambling, through just all the TV money that's coming into it. We haven't seen the effects of that yet. It's going to be 10 more years until we really understand what's going on today. And I just feel bad. I feel bad for all the people that are going to be hurt by this system, because no one has the lack of foresight to say, you know what? They're people. They're actual people. Like you said, they're not poker chips. They're people. We are putting people, and now really young people, in front of a spotlight that is so hot and so bright, and you're just cranking up the heat. And at some point, there's going to be people that succeed. There always is. There's always people that raise to that level, and they're exceptional human beings. But for every exceptional human being, how many falter and how many burn in that light? So that's the truth of it. That's the sad truth of the matter.
I would tell you, you're right on. And even with the statistics on lotteries, really, it's like these kids hit a lottery. When you give a professional athlete or the NIL gives these young kids these big $1 million deals, and if you look at families who've won lotteries and you look at how their lives end up, they end up in turmoil. They end up in turmoil. They end up in fights and divorce, and everybody falls apart. Look. Money, the love of money is the root of all evil. So, we need to go back to the basics, man. If it ain't broke, you're going to hear me say this a lot. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Do you understand? We need to go back to restricting gambling at every level. That's the lotteries. The lotteries shouldn't be advertising on television either. I mean, you see their ads all the time. Come try to win $100 million. Like, who's not going to go empty out there? I'm going to go try to win $100 million.
Second most famous groundhog in Pennsylvania. Why do I know that? Why are there two famous groundhogs in Pennsylvania? There should only be one.
I would tell you here right on, bro. But what we need to do is we need to try to push the powers that be, first and foremost, to get all gambling advertising off of television. Make all, you can even bet the lottery online now. You can bet the lottery online. Do you understand? That's what I'm told. I've never played the lottery. I don't play the lottery. I would tell you the same thing happens. Look, everything related to gambling has to be in person. Someone has to go in their right mind and buy a lottery ticket or bet, $100 on their favorite football team or basketball team or whatever.
That's a really interesting point you just said there. I just thought of that. You're sitting in your house halfway through, the 4:00 game for the NFL. You don't know how many beers these guys have been having all day long. You're sitting there, you're drinking, you're having a good time. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with sitting back having a beer on a Sunday. But if you have to drive to a casino, that means you have to drive. You have to get behind a wheel. There has to be some level of cognitive ability to go and place those bets, be it if it's 10 o'clock in the morning or if it's the day before. But if you got to get to a physical place. You can't sit on your couch 8, 9, 10 beers deep and be like, you know what? I really like the over for this game. I really like that second half parlay. I think I could all the money I lost this morning, I can make it back right here in this one half. And that's dangerous.
Well, and that's exactly how it works. Yep. You understand? And before you know it, they don't got the money to feed their own families. And this is not just with 100. This is with millions and millions of Americans today. This is what's happening. I told you about that ad that I saw, when I was on my tractor. I heard on the country station that 1 in 8 Americans suffer from hunger. You hear what I'm saying to you? That's why they're dumping their money in places where it's like they're just suckers. It's just getting sucked out of them, and then they're forgetting how to survive, Andrew. And the divorce rate has gone up since. Sure. The suicide rate has gone up since. I mean, everything. Those two things. What's worse? What's worse than someone killing themselves? What's worse than someone getting a divorce over gambling? And what our government's doing, rather than restricting it and making it where someone who's an adult that can afford to do it and in his right mind goes and travels and puts a couple $100 down. And I want to speak to those people too. A lot of them, rather than going to church and taking the $100 or $200 that they're going to gamble and give it to the church to help the church. Churches are great, man. They're the greatest things. They're the glue that's holding America together right now. Our government's falling apart. Both parties are falling apart. But the glue that's holding our country together are the churches. You understand? So all of these guys, and it's, the annual handle that they estimate for gambling is close to $1 trillion a year. $1 trillion a year people are wagering on gambling. Imagine that. But they can't listen. That same guy that's going and sitting on his couch drinking or going and spending. I heard the local football team here in Pennsylvania is charging $1,000 to go watch a football game. The Philadelphia Eagles are charging like $1,000. Now, if you can afford that, here's what I'm trying to say to you. If you can afford that, God bless you. But don't forget about your church. Don't forget about the food bank. You understand? Go help a food bank. People, look, I help a food bank every week in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Everlasting Life Ministries, awesome ministry. Okay? Every single week, you go down there on Thursdays, we feed about 200 to 300 homeless people from Allentown. And then on Saturday, we feed about 200 families every week. Okay? And if you go there, you can't believe you're there. So if you got 200 or 300 spare dollars, okay? Send it to Everlasting Life Ministries, or if you're in a different part of the country, guess what? Go down there and volunteer. Rather than sitting on your couch. Look, if you want to have a great day and you want your food to taste better and you want your love to feel better and you want your relationship with God and your friends and your family to feel better, and you can bet $300 or $1,000 or whatever it is, go and donate it to a church. Go to church, okay? Contribute. Go to a food bank. If you see a homeless guy, don't give him money. Go buy a Chick-fil-A. Go buy something for like a $10 ticket, and give it to him, man. Do God's work. If you really want to be blessed, don't be some stupid idiot that's going to sit on your couch and drink beer and gamble your life away, okay? And think because you're cheering for a certain team or a certain that they care. No. Man, get back to basics. That's what you need to do. Now, if you got extra and you wanna bet on your favorite team here and there, I'm not gonna say yay or nay, okay? But what I'm gonna say, if it tempts you or tempts somebody else according to the scriptures, don't gamble, okay? I don't gamble. I used to. I have not gambled. I'm done because I think it's bad. I don't think it's good, and I think any extra money that I have, I want to give it and help the refugees in Lebanon and Syria. I want to help the local people in Allentown, Pennsylvania. People are suffering all over the world. Wake up, America! Close to $1 trillion a year we're wagering on sports betting and gambling. I mean, that's a sin. So I'm trying to live a sinless life. And listen, for those of you that are struggling with gambling, right? The Lord's Prayer is an awesome prayer, man, right? In it, right? I'm going to say it, all right? I'm going to personalize it real fast to end our show, man.
Yeah, let's wrap it
up. My Father who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give me this day my daily bread, and forgive me my trespasses, as I forgive those who trespass against me. And here it is. And lead me not into temptation, but deliver me from all evil. For thine is the kingdom and the power and the glory forever and ever. Personalize it too, because Christ says, this is the prayer that my Father taught me. There's power in it, man, women, okay? Rebuke the devil, man. If you're struggling with gambling, pray the Lord's Prayer time and time again, and I promise you, he'll come and help you, okay? Stop gambling. It's bad. And let's stop the advertising and the addiction of our young men and women.
Awesome. Well, that was a great show. And I think that's a great place to wrap it up there. I think we touched on a lot of good stuff. And I want to thank everybody for listening. Once again, you can find us everywhere you listen to podcasts: Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube, everywhere across all social media channels. And check in with us next week for another great episode and see what we're talking about. All right, everyone, have a great day.